supposed to have a full crew tonight, or?
I don't know, James called, I haven't heard from Nick, I presume Ed's not coming, because she would've come with Joe if she was.
Right. What's going on, buddy? Good, how you been? Busy. For yourself. No major damage. No. I guess the regular mics aren't working. No. So you gotta use these things. So once they're on, they're always on. So no loud outside.
So me, you gotta watch out what we say.
Maybe there's no chit chat. With one of these. You hear, how you doing? Yeah, these, Andy already told us.
Yeah, once the meeting starts, those meetings are live.
Yep.
So if you want to carry on the conversation with the gentleman next to you, it's gonna come out.
Right, well, that's why I said to him, we'll have to do this.
That doesn't help.
No,
I've heard that happen,
really.
but I heard the sound, so they put the hand on the mic, and then I could hear them afterwards.
Point well taken.
So, and the other thing is, especially if the microphone's right in front of you, find out the Russell papers.
Okay,
Please be sensitive.
pick up everything, all right.
Yeah.
That's gonna be kind of difficult when we have to go through the documents, but.
When you go to sign stuff.
Right. I guess we got three.
Read all you need. And good, everybody's gonna be on this side of this like.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless James comes late.
No, James.
James not gonna be here?
No,
Ann?
no, she would've came with Joe, so she's not here. The only one left is Toby, but if he's not here by now, I'm gonna say he's probably not coming.
I wonder if it's safe for me to take that microphone.
From that side? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because even if Toby comes, he sits on
If somebody comes in, they'll sit there then.
Yeah. What, is that a Samsung? Note 8? I got one of the H Samsungs, but the screen's not even close to that size. Jeez.
do schedules and stuff for the bridge operators and everything. So I need to
Well, I have my football squares, right? Yeah. And I'm scrolling this way and scroll back down, and I'm right, and can't into the screen. Although it didn't matter, it didn't hit anything. In every quarter, I had one number, either with the Patriots or Philly. I never got the two together.
website, answer the question, sign the last page here and give it to Ashley.
Okay.
Along with the certificate.
All right, I will take care of it.
Can you bring another mic?
The one from that side.
Well, we're gonna have somebody sitting over there.
Who's gonna be over
We're
there?
gonna have somebody. James.
Oh, you said he is coming?
Yes.
I thought you said he wasn't coming.
Okay, I'll sit over there. You said Aaron's not coming because Joe would have brought him.
Yeah, I thought you said you heard from James and he wasn't coming. I misunderstood.
No, I said no from him. But mics are gonna be live all the time because the city hall mics not work. So once he goes live on the mics, they're live.
Jesus, you don't sound too good.
7 o'clock, Rich.
Hold on, please.
So we're waiting on you.
Jesus Christ, Andy, don't rush him.
Excuse me?
Don't rush him.
No. Just tell him.
I don't wanna have to carry him.
Okay, so you're saying as soon as I get back there, you're ready?
Yep, yep. As soon as the TV comes on, I'll start.
You look at the minutes. How are the minutes, okay? Wow, short minutes, short meeting. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the February 7th, 2018 meeting of the Revere Conservation Commission. First item on the agenda is roll call. Member Joseph Lavelle.
Here?
Member Vincent Loria.
Yep.
Member Nicholas Melason.
Yeah.
Absent is member Ann Raponi. James Saboni called me, said he would be on his way. He's here now. Member James Saboni.
Yeah.
Present. Member Robert Cassidy is absent. And member Ann Raponi could not make it tonight. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of January 3rd, 2018. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by member Nicholas Melason,
Second.
second by member Joseph Lavalley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Voted in the affirmative. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing. 1064 North Shore Road, renovation and conversion of commercial building to 12 apartments, Triple E LLC. Jamie Russo, do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Peter, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
If you put them up so they face the camera.
Where would you live, right here?
Yep. And you can face the audience with that, because we'll see it on the monitor.
It's been a little while since I've been here, so. I feel like the weather girl here talking backwards. Here's the green grass right, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Peter.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is, for the record, Peter Blaisdell. I'm a civil engineer and land surveyor at Williams.
Oh, you can turn it around, actually.
Which way's better for you?
He switched it, okay, so you're
Okay.
fine now.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I
It's
can
a camera
point
here.
this way. 189 North Main Street, Middleton, Massachusetts. As you know, we have a notice of intent filing before you. The property is located at 1064 North Shore Road in Revere, essentially right on the east side of North Shore Road, at the intersection of Sear Street. The property is owned by Triple E LLC. Is presently a vacant building, which was a commercial use. The plan is to renovate the building, change it to 12 apartment units, and part of that is that the building needs to be modified to, have handicapped access and that type of thing. But the drawing that you see before you, if there's just the existing conditions, just to give you an idea, some of the resources that the commission itself would be interested in. So essentially, the building is shown here in this brown color. The reason why you see essentially everything else here is gray is because essentially the whole site is impervious, with just a very small area in the back, and which is next to Avon Street, and then a very small sliver adjacent to the houses next to us. In its present condition, paving's not in very good condition. It's broken, it's cracked, it's kind of unsightly. So the applicant would like to make this a little bit more attractive, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So the resource areas that the commission would be interested in are, we flagged across the street on the city of Revere's property, bordering vegetated wetland, which then goes out back into the marsh. So what we've done is we've added a wetland flag series A1 through A5, which then produces a 100-foot buffer zone, which essentially runs through just this small portion of the property. The other thing that is actually a little bit strange is that we looked up on the MassGIS maps, and believe it or not, this line that's shown here is actually a delineation of the approximate location of the Barrier Beach, even though I think everybody knows that area. It's not functioning as a Barrier Beach right now at all. However, it is a resource and it's shown, so we wanted to make sure that you were aware of it. The big one that you're probably all aware of too is that this whole area has been mapped as within a flood zone, a 100-year flood zone. So according to the latest flood insurance rate maps, the elevation for the 100-year flood in this area is 11. It's not subject to wave action, so it's not a velocity zone. Waves aren't going to hit this. Actually, if they do, we're in a lot of trouble. But the idea is that this whole area will flood from probably behind or maybe not directly from the beach, but it is land subject to coastal storm flowage to the best of my knowledge, and we've made a note of that on the plan. So those are the resources. There aren't any bordering vegetated wetlands or any isolated wetlands. As you can see, it's a rather small piece of property. It's about 9,900 square feet. And as most of you know, I mean, I grew up as a kid around this area, not this town, but I've known this building for quite a long time. It's always been essentially just a parking lot with a building. And as you can see, the building itself is essentially almost built lot line to lot line, with an exception in the back. So the other thing of note is that there is an existing catch basin on the site, which is shown here. And then the applicant had, I believe it was Rapid Flow, come out the other day, and they pumped it. This drain manhole here has a pump equipped in it, which then discharges to, I believe, an existing catch basin shown here on North Shore Road. However, I guess the pump has been out of service for a couple of years, so we'll probably hear from some neighbors later on talking about a little bit of flooding. It probably makes sense that the reason that there's been some extra water down there recently is that the pump is either broken or is not hooked up or no power to it. I'm not sure. I haven't stuck my head in there to see what's going on, nor have I had the chance to sort of explore to see what type of pumps are there, but that's something that we can certainly discuss. So that's the existing condition and the resource areas, and essentially it's going to be a redevelopment of somewhat of an unsightly looking building, and we're going to try to turn this into something better. So I'm just going to flip this over to the proposed condition. So essentially the whole site remains at the same grade, but what we'd like to do is make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So the building itself is really going to stay the same. There's going to be some changes to the front entrance for handicapped access, some stairs. We're going to realign the parking a little bit. And the other thing we'd like to do is improve the situation here a little bit with some of the runoff. So this whole entire embankment here that's next to the sidewalk is all paved. It's in bad condition. It's starting to collapse a little bit. The guardrail is starting to sag. So the applicant would like to fix that. But in addition to that, we'd like to remove some of that unnecessary impervious area and put in some landscaping. So the plan that you see before you Just to give you an idea, so as I said, the existing lot is about 9,900 square feet. In its present condition, there's about 9,300 square feet of impervious area. We'd like to take off about another 600 square feet and remove that and add in some plantings and some bushes or just something just to make the site a little better. In addition to that, there's a rather unsightly fence that is across one end of the parking lot. The applicant would like to replace that with a more, probably more aesthetically pleasing fence, something that's not, kind of an eyesore, something that's nice. The other thing we'd like to do too is reduce some of that runoff that has been heading towards the neighbor's property. One of the ways we were going to do that is, right now, it's basically paved all the way right to the lot line. We'd like to pull that back about 3 or 4 feet, remove that pavement, and add a landscaping bed so that we can, if any runoff is heading down that area, instead of just rushing underneath the fence, it's gonna, at least hit some bark mulch or at least hit some soil where it won't go right into the neighbor's yards. But also, that's gonna be graded so everything hits right into that existing catch basin. Mr. Chairman had asked me in an email about the condition of that catch basin. When our surveyors were down there last time, they couldn't see the condition of the pipe because it was full of water. So we've had that pumped out. I haven't had a chance to talk to Rapid Flow to see the depth of it or the construction of it, but it's my understanding it's not a deep sump catch basin. So that's something we can talk about if you'd like to see about maybe improving some of the TSS removal here on site. But other than that, we're considering this just a redevelopment project. There's really no opportunities that you may see in other sites where you really can't infiltrate anywhere here on site. It's all sitting on basically, they don't even have a classification for the soils and they call it udorthants, which can be anything. It's a wet substratum, which means we're not really much higher above sea level here. I'm sure the soils here are not very good, probably just marine clays, and you really can't put any dry wells in or try to do anything as far as putting in any extra water into the ground. It's not going to go anywhere. So the only way we could really try to improve the site here is just by reducing some of this impervious area and adding some planting beds, just to try to alleviate some of the runoff. We did do some calculations and put it in the notice of intent. It's a very small amount of reduction for the peak rate of runoff. I mean, you're only talking 600 square feet, but still it's an improvement. I think that's covers just about everything. I know Mr. Chairman may have some questions, and you may have some questions, so fire away if you're ready.
Thanks, Peter. Questions, comments? from
Yeah, I have some questions.
Commissioner Lavalley?
Do I have to turn this on?
It's on.
You think
The
so?
mics are going to be on all the time, so we need to have no chatter. Try to shuffle your papers quietly. Go ahead, Joe.
So you don't intend to increase the footprint of the building as from what it exists now?
No. Nope.
And what is going to be on the ground floor?
So right now, when you walk into the building, you actually walk down a few steps, and then you have to go up steps to the second level. So the front will essentially be closed off. And I forgot to introduce, Mr. Russo's here in case I get anything wrong with the building, but essentially the front of the building is going to be closed off. So you won't actually see where the glass doors are anymore. There's going to be a new entrance up above. And we're going to, the proposal is to pick up the first floor elevation above the 100-year floor, above the 100-year flood elevation, up to elevation 11.2. Mr. Chairman had a question for me about the final elevation of it, but we can discuss that as well.
Just for my own visualization, how much higher would that be than the ground level as it exists right now?
So it's kind of a weird question, Mr. LaValle, because if you're standing in the parking lot facing the building and North Shore Road's on your right, the threshold is at elevation 5.3. It then goes down 4 or 5 steps, Jamie? It goes down about 4 or 5 steps to a lower building where there's some mechanicals are. But the next level up is at elevation 10.4, or about 5 feet higher. So that's sort of going to be the main entrance. We're going to modify that so that threshold will be above the 100-year flood elevation, if that makes sense to you, Mr. LaValle.
I'm not sure I'm still trying to visualize that.
So-
That drops down from,
Yeah, so
I was able to look at the site.
Yeah.
But I was on North Shore Road when I was
So that
looking.
normal glass door entrance that you walk in, and then you can walk down, that's gonna be gone. That won't be there anymore. But the upper entrance will be created so that that's about 6 feet higher.
And what about the access and egress to the parking lot? Where do you intend to have that?
Same thing, the entrance is gonna be right here, right onto Sear Street. That won't
On
be-
Sear Street, not on North Shore Road?
No, not on North Shore Road.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Lewis.
Anybody else?
Yes,
Commissioner Savoni?
yeah, thank you for the informative presentation. I just,
Yeah, speak into the mic, Jim.
not working. Should I talk loud? How's that?
Can you hear him, Rick? Better.
So, you're not taking any credit, it's a redevelopment project. You're not taking any credit for infiltration, but you're reducing the impervious area, so I'm just wondering if there's a possibility for you to, sort of benefit from some of that with some, low-impact development, techniques on the site. I realize you haven't collected any soil samples because you're just making assumptions on the soil type in the area, which is probably adequate, but, given the reduction in impervious area, I'm wondering if you could get some TSS removal credits or find some benefit meeting the stormwater standards. And the other comment was, it seems like the catch basin it's more than a minor issue. So, I'm not sure how there's a pump in there and who installed that pump and what the background is behind that, but,
Don't know.
I think that's something that needs to be resolved. So if the pump is no longer functional, you need to, evaluate to keep some catch basin or some other alternative.
Yeah, so I wasn't even aware there was even a pump here. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to go in and jet it and see what was going on. So the pump, my understanding, is not in the catch basin, it's in the next manhole on line towards North Shore Road.
Who operates that pump?
I would assume the owner, but Mr. Russo wasn't even aware it's there. He's only owned the property he just found out himself, so. I think what we're gonna do is talk to a pump manufacturer. We'll maybe pull the pump, see what's going on, and see if it either needs to be repaired, replaced, or, what we need to do.
Who owns the structure there?
I can't hear you, Jim.
Who owns the structure that the pump is in?
I would assume Mr. Russo does. I did not find any easements or anything like that from any other entity that said that, anybody else has any rights to come in and maintain the pump or anything, so I assume it's his. So,
So it's in, Mr. Rizzo's, best interest to make sure the pump is operational.
yeah, I believe,
Developing the property.
yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to have a lake out there any more than if he's going to be marketing these apartments, so.
Just trying to get it clear in my head.
Yeah, this information just became available to us yesterday, so we're kind of here just to let you know that this is what we just received as well, so we're gonna push that issue too and see what we can do with it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Member Lalonde?
may I just continue what James was asking?
Sure.
Just so I have it clear in my head, is this a sump pump we're talking about, or is this a pump that pumps into the city's drainage?
So, I think it pumps into the North Shore Road drainage system. So, I believe there's a couple of these up and down North Shore Road. And again, Mr. DeSantis probably knows more about the drainage down that area than I do.
And
So,
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
And empties onto North Shore Road?
No, there's another catch basin, storm drain on
Yeah.
North Shore Road, that we believe it goes from this manhole, pumps to that storm drain on North Shore Road.
yeah, not to the surface, Mr.
Not to the
Lavalley.
surface,
No,
underneath?
I believe it pumps into a structure.
Well, in order to do that, wouldn't you have to have had, somebody would have had to have had permission from the city?
Yeah, that's,
It depends on when it was put in, or,
That's a discharge, if it's not permanent.
it's not a new discharge.
Doesn't matter, when you redevelop a property,
Yeah.
you need to evaluate any potential illicit discharge.
Yeah, again, I just found out about this. I thought it was gravity.
Yeah,
So,
I'm happy to,
we're happy to work with the city to
find
see
out
what happens.
You know, what your solution is, and,
I am too. I'm looking forward to see what my solution is.
the commission will be reasonable as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that if that pump was put in there, it was probably put in there for a reason. And if there's been some flooding issues over the last couple of years because that pump is broken, then we could probably all agree that maybe we should look about replacing it, but we'll talk to the city about it.
But where it discharges to, that's.
Well, I think
really important.
we'll go pop the other structures out there, maybe the catch basin, and see if it goes into there, and see what the size of the line is, and we can determine what the head is on the pump, and see if it's sized correctly, or why it failed, or how old it could be very old, don't know.
Yeah, so, you know, I think we should, what's the plan for, development here? What's your schedule?
Well, first, I'd like Mr. DeSantis to give me the permit.
Well, I think
Okay.
we may need.
No, I don't know.
You to come back and,
Well, honestly, tonight, just wanted to give you the presentation, probably set up a site visit. And then,
that
DEP, I don't even think DEP's even given us a number yet. I checked it yesterday.
Yeah, I meant to check and I forgot.
There wasn't any comments yet, nor were there any, there wasn't even a number, so, I mean, we weren't planning on having this closed tonight by a long shot, so. Figured we'd probably meet all the, commissioners out on site, take a look at it.
Okay, I just got a couple of comments, and I want to hear from the neighbors. Pump is naturally new to me, being introduced tonight, which gives me even more concern about not knowing what kind of sump you have on that catch basin. If you should have an
Yeah.
oil spill or a substantial gasoline spill, you don't even know if there's enough capacity
Yeah.
to contain it in the sump of the catch basin. Now you got a pump that would pump it out.
Well, the pump is not the pump's not in the catch basin. It's in the manhole.
It's in the manhole, but if you're flowing into the catch basin, it gets to the manhole, and then the pump starts pumping it.
Again, I'm not trying, I thought you said the pump was in the basin. So,
No.
You're correct, there's no,
You don't know what the sump is.
There's no hood or something there
So
right
there might
now.
not even be a sump at all. It might be right at pipe invert, so anything that spills in there is going to flow right out.
I agree.
So I would like to see a deep sump catch basin there.
I
Air
think that's,
conditioners
I've
cannot
talked to
be
the
at
client.
grade.
yeah.
You're showing the air conditioners at grade, they cannot be at grade.
That's being worked on. It's my understanding that everything's gonna be moved to the roof.
Every time what?
The air conditioners are being moved up.
Okay. You had mentioned the hot water heaters below the flood elevation.
The hot water heaters are gonna remain on the basement floor.
Can't do that either.
We'll see, I don't know.
You can't have utilities below the flood elevation unless you're going to waterproof the building, and there's no indication.
Again, I don't know if it's gonna be
Okay.
waterproofed, if they have
Well,
to be moved.
I'm bringing up my question.
I got you.
You got a fuel fill in back of the building? Is that going to be, continue to be used?
I don't think so. They still.
The
you still
fuel
gonna
fill, Jamie,
Bring oil in?
What?
Is it still gonna be oil?
there's no oil, so that should be cemented in.
What?
The fuel fill that's shown on the back of the building, if it's at grade?
The tanks have been removed, and, when the mason comes to do that.
Okay, good. Okay, that's all I got. All right, we've got some neighbors, I think, that would like to speak.
Sure.
Would you come to the microphone, state your name and address, and voice your concerns?
Good evening. I'm Attorney Robert Indrisano, and this is Joseph Patty, the owner of 28 Bay Road.
28 Bay Road.
Okay.
What's your last name, Robert? I didn't get it.
Indrisano,
Intrasano?
Indresano.
And the homeowner is?
Joseph Patty.
Joseph Patty. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Patty is a licensed contractor, and he's lived at, he had a business, and he has the apartment at 28 Bay Road, okay? We looked at the plans together, and the plan shows an elevation that's being raised 4.85 on one part of their plan, okay? Our question is, by raising that elevation, is that water gonna be seeping back down to Bay Road?
That's on the far right corner,
The
where the handicap
Right.
parking spot is.
Right.
In the corner,
Yeah.
closest to the Harrison House? I see elevation 5 there. 567 there.
Okay, but is it,
I see a contour line of 5 on that side. On this side, contour line of 5 comes into the corner of the parking lot in the building, and it shows on the existing elevation, 4.75, so it's a matter of 4 inches.
wait, okay, so that water's gonna be running down?
It's bringing it up. It's bringing the elevation of the land up a
Okay.
little bit. They're
Okay.
trying to, I believe their intent is to try and collect all the drainage into the catch basin.
Well, that's been a major problem, and the catch basin does not work. How
Well,
long
that's what I was talking
All I
about.
can tell you, it has been working for many, many years, and Tripoli's, when they bought the property, they did maintain the catch basin, and the pump every so often would shut down, not work, because of debris going into the pump. And then they would just, after a while, they just gave up and bought.
When you say grease, like automotive grease?
No, just leaves, you know.
Oh, leaves, debris. Oh, I
Debris.
thought you said grease, so.
But I was gonna bring that other issue about the oil collection, if any of the vehicles leak oil or something like that. That would be my concern.
Yeah, that was the concern I expressed by not having a catch basin that you know has a good sump in it.
How am I gonna be guaranteed, he's my neighbor, and I have another one over here. How are we gonna be guaranteed in 2 years from now that this is all gonna keep on working?
The only thing we could
Can we
do,
get something in writing from the owner?
no, you would not get something in writing. The only thing we can do is put something in the order of conditions that be periodically inspected and maintained in good working condition, and it'd be a perpetual continuing condition that rides with the deed to the property.
I checked the title, and the drain in the rear of the said lot, it's okay, what the title says, must be kept open, and you can put a 12-inch pipe, can be inserted and covered up if laid to the line of the grade. That's what the title, this is registered land, by the way. The other thing on this is, in checking the intent there, we found on page 14 that as to the runoff, it said it was non-applicable. Well, that's our big problem, is the runoff into the drainage for Bay Road, that it hits into Bay Road. We talked to Mr. Russo, and he said he'd consider putting in a retaining wall that would run on that line, what's it, 4 foot?
I would be perfectly happy if we do like a 2-foot retaining wall above grade level with a 4-foot fence.
It's up to Mr. Russo if
This
he's
way here would
willing to
guarantee
do that.
that's not gonna come.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to continue this
Okay.
hearing to
But that's-
next month. They'll come back with a revised plan.
Okay, that'd be fine, yeah, we'd have no problem with that, that'd be great.
Anything further?
The rooftop on the structure does not have any gutters or downspouts.
What do you have for drainage?
Interior, there are drains on the roof that drain into the building and down. to the
It's
basement.
flat roof, right?
It's a flat roof, yes.
Yeah, which would be
And
typical.
drains to where?
I believe the roof leaders, Peter, go into, yeah.
Yeah, you want to check that, because if it's connected to sanitary, you're going to get your project done, then the city will come along and tell you got to rip things up to disconnect from sanitary and make sure it goes to storm.
No, it's not, there's a pipe that comes down into the basement, and it looks, I mean, depending where the,
Is that the
where the entrance.
You probably want to dye it, Jamie.
Yeah. Does that have a pump too?
That does not, it's not even.
Okay,
Yeah, at least you got some head on it from
Yeah.
the,
So we get a
the
revised
roof.
plan, would be, you know.
okay?
Okay.
All right, so you'll be here. Anybody else in the audience would like to speak on this?
Council Powers.
Council Powers?
One of the things that I am,
Introduce yourself, please, John, not that
John
nobody
Powers,
knows you,
46
but,
Naponton Street, Revere.
thank you.
One of the things that I am interested in is that pump. And the building itself is an eyesore, there's no question about it. There are no parking variances asked for, no special permits. I think the issue focuses on conservation and the drainage system down there. I would suspect that catch basin that runs where the water runs into from the pump. May even run over under North Shore Road to the marsh. There's a very good chance that that happens there. And then ultimately, you've got the tide gate down there, and you've got the Martin Street tide gate. But one of the things that I would feel very strongly about is that that pump, as part of the conditions, be the responsibility of the developer to make sure that it's maintained properly, and that's their responsibility, because there is a lot of flooding down in that area. The good news is that we're going to be redoing the Eastern County ditch, dragging all the phragmites out of there and all of the debris that's been thrown in there, and that'll probably start in the spring. So that'll give the residents down there some relief on Sears Street, Bay Road, that area. However, I want to make sure that that pump is maintained. I think that's a key issue here, because you don't want to find out that there's water running off of that parking lot affecting any neighbors in the area down there. So that's my main concern. I'm not against the project. I think it'll probably be an asset once it's completed, but again, I'd want to make sure that pump, I can't emphasize that strongly enough, that that pump be maintained. And
So noted, John.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anybody else in the audience? Do I have a motion to continue?
Make a motion to continue.
Oh, before you continue, Mr. Chairman, do you want to set up a site visit?
Want to do a site visit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to, if you want to go by on your own.
What's the will of the commission?
I'd say we'll make a site visit.
Okay, the next meeting's the 7th of March. Saturday before that's the 3rd. Does that work for everybody? 9 o'clock on the 3rd?
One more time, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
9 a.m., Peter. On March 3rd. And we have a motion by Member Melason
Yes, sir.
to continue to March 7th. And that was seconded by Member Saboni. All those in favor?
Aye.
Vote in the affirmative. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing, DEP file 061. I don't think we got a file number yet for
Yeah.
320, 327 Viv Beach Boulevard, demolition of existing structures and construction of mixed-use development consistent of 145 residential units and 2,500 square feet of restaurant retail with parking on the grade. Mr. Salvo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, Rick Salvo with Engineering Alliance. On behalf of the Ash Family Limited Partnership and HR Development and the NRP Group, we're here to respectfully request that this matter be continued until the March hearing. And we're still working with some of the abutters. Just want to make sure we bring the right plan to the commission.
Do I have a motion to postpone this to March hearing?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Member Lavalley, seconded by Member Melason. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Voted. And while I have
Thank
Mr.
you.
Salvo at the podium, he's also here on a partial certificate of compliance, the last item on the agenda, so I'd like the permission of the commission to take it out of order.
I'll make a motion to take it out of order.
That was Vincent?
Yes. I'll second it.
All those in favor? Any opposed to take item number 7 out of order? All set?
Great. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, Rick Salvo with Engineering Alliance. Here this evening with Roy McDowell and Eric Swenson of Baystone Development. As you know, they have the project, the Beach House at 526 to 546 Revere Beach Boulevard. which is down closer to the Point of Pines end of the beach, directly adjacent to Seaview Towers. This project was before you back in 2016. Construction commenced in the spring of 2016. It consists of, as you know, a multifamily residential building, 5 stories of wood frame construction over 2 podiums of parking containing about 234 units. They are ready to seek temporary occupancy for the first 159 units, which is the tower that's closest to Seaview Towers. The access will be via the driveway that's on the north side of the site. It was a previous paver driveway. It's all installed. The parking lot in the back is up to binder. All the drainage facilities are in. All the infiltration facilities are in for those particular structures. There's also a roof infiltration system in the front of the building that's been installed, just waiting to install the overflow connection across the street. I don't know if any of you have been by the site. It's nearing substantial completion on the outside. Obviously, we're not at the point yet where we can request a final certificate of compliance because we won't be landscaping, obviously, until this spring. But in conversations with Mr. Chairman, he wanted us to come in and at least request a partial certificate of compliance for the work that has been done. We have been to site plan review to talk to other department heads. We've supplied the city engineer with the information that he was looking for relative to the pressure tests, disinfection tests for the water system, sewer system, drain system, and that sort of thing. So we don't have an as-built to date just because the site isn't completely finished yet. But we're here tonight to request a partial certificate of compliance with the remaining work items being the overflow connection across Revere Beach Boulevard and really just the installation of the landscaping. All the other systems are installed and operational. And at that point, we'd be bringing you a completed as-built plan for the final grading and that sort of thing. So right now, the first occupancies are set for, I believe, February 17th. So we're hopeful that the commission would consider the issuance of a partial certificate of compliance, or if you didn't want to issue a partial certificate of compliance, just understand where we're at, and we're happy to, we'll be back in, probably about June to request a final certificate of occupancy, certificate of compliance, once all the landscaping is in and starting to take.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Salvo?
Yeah, no,
Member Saboni?
I'd like to recommend to the commission that we do not issue a partial certificate of compliance because we haven't seen any plans with regard to the stormwater treatment system at all. We're just going on his word alone, so.
Well, he's got people moving in, and I need to sign off on the occupancy in order to do that. So if the commission will give me permission to sign off on the occupancy, I don't have a problem not doing a partial certificate of compliance.
Well, it's the will of the commission.
And certainly the partial certificate of compliance could note that a final certificate of compliance will not be issued until proof of the drainage system is submitted to the commission. I mean, you're allowed to keep outstanding items on its purpose of the partial, so whatever the will of the commission is.
I just didn't want to be in a situation where people are moving in and nothing's been brought forward to the whole board. I didn't want to act on my own.
So I say, like James, we want to know too, don't want to just take his word for it. We issue the partial, but he needs, before he gets the final, he needs to prove to us what's been, what I mean?
Yes, yeah, he's got to come back.
Yeah, make that a condition of the partial, that they need to show proof of what they've done. Not that he's gonna lie, and I don't think the developer's gonna lie over a multi-million-dollar project, but we'd like to know for sure.
Yeah, we've got a letter from Mr. Salvo that says what's been done, and I think I sent that to everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we've stamped and certified it, we've inspected it all, but yeah, that's
got an
more than
elevation
reasonable to
certificate.
actually explicitly write right on it that, the final COC won't be issued until an as-built plan, certifying the.
Yeah,
drainage
what it
system is
says,
done.
what
I'm
I
not
checked,
certified it and stamped it, but I'm happy to, that's fine.
What I checked is partial certification is hereby certified that only the following portions of work regulated by the above referenced order conditions have been satisfactorily completed. The project areas of work subject to this partial certification that have been completed are released from this order or occupancy for first phase of construction. Site is rough created. All catch basins, trench drains, CDS waste quality inlets have been installed per plan. The front and rear infiltration facilities have been installed per plan. C certification by engineer.
Perfect.
Does that satisfy your concern?
Yes, it does.
Good. Do I have a motion to issue?
Could I ask a question?
Yes, you
will
can.
Do you want to do this part first?
Well, ask your question before anybody
Hi.
says anything.
So you mentioned it, you're wondering if anybody goes by the site, and I do all the time, because I'm also a resident in the city.
Sure.
And I have a question for both of you. You intend to have residents moving in this month? Is that right? Yes. Okay. Right now, and they're going to have a place to park under the building? Yes. Because right now, all of the workers are parked on the boulevard, on both sides. So evidently, you people haven't had access for these workers because they've been parking on the boulevard.
Yes, there is going to be the building has 366 parking spaces indoors, of which.
Roy, why don't you come up to the microphone, please?
Excuse me. Roy McDowell, Baystone Development. The building has 366 parking spaces indoors. We have 12 additional outside. For the initial occupancy, we're going to allocate 145 parking spaces at the lower level. So we'll have more than enough parking.
Well, I would like to know why you couldn't have made it possible for the workers to park down there in all of these ensuing months, including snow months and everything else,
Well,
so that the boulevard wouldn't have been cramped with workers going back and forth and trucks out there and everything. It's terrible out there.
I can appreciate that, and that'll be waning very shortly. We couldn't do that because there was so much work going on inside the garages, between construction, storage of materials, equipment going back and forth, plumbing happening. It would have been a dangerous situation, actually, to have cars parked in that
It would have been
garage.
less dangerous if you had a detail out there. You had construction workers stopping traffic in the middle of rush hour.
I will bring that up, I'll bring that up to the
The
general,
state police barracks are right down the street.
I will bring that up to the contractor. Thank you.
Anything else? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Member Nicholas Malation,
I'll second.
second by Vin Laria. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate you taking us
Do you
over.
have the occupancy certificate with you?
We do not, we're waiting to get that from the building department.
Okay, give me a call when you get it.
Thank you very much.
I can sign off on it. Thank you. You're welcome. Next item on the agenda is a public meeting, request for termination of applicability, City of Revere, Beachmont Sales Creek sewer improvements. Magdalena Lofstead is here from CDM Smith to present on this.
Should we face it this way?
So he picks it up on the camera and, oh, actually, he can pick it up this way. Show it to us. Because you said the plan changed from the one we had in the, there's nobody in the audience, so might as well show it to us. And he can pick it up anyways.
So my name is Magdalena Lofstead. I'm a wetland scientist with CDM Smith, and with me tonight I have Kara Johnston, who is the design engineer, also with CDM Smith, and we're here on behalf of the City of Revere, our client. We filed a request for determination of applicability for the Beachmont Sales Creek Neighborhood Sewer and Drainage Improvements Project. The proposed work will partially take place in land subject to coastal storm flowage, the 100-year floodplain elevation, which is at elevation 6 in this project area. So I'm going to hand it over to Kara, and she's going to give you a description of the proposed work.
Thank you, Maggie. So this GIS drawing here shows the existing infrastructure in the neighborhood. The project is a sewer and drainage improvements project. So there's a number of issues going on with the existing sewer system. The sewer is extremely shallow, and the pipes are not properly sloped. They're not meeting minimum slope. So with that, there's been a number of concerns. You have freezing concerns because of the shallow pipe. We have backup concerns, and we've had odor complaints from neighbors.
We have some background noise, if you could just move the
Sure
mic
there.
a little closer.
So
Pick it up if you need to.
there's been a number of odor concerns in the neighborhood from neighbors, and the city engineer has also received odor complaints from neighbors. So this project will help to alleviate those problems. So the sewer replacement will occur on Jones Road, George, Henry, and Dolphin Avenue. The sewer will be removed and replaced on Jones and be pitched via gravity to Winthrop Parkway, and the remaining portion of the neighborhood will be sent via gravity to a new pump station to be located on a city-owned parcel that's called Lot 1A on Jones Road. That pump station, the top elevation of the hatch will be above the 100-year flood elevation, which is 6, so the top of the hatch will be at elevation 7. To be sure we're above that, the site will be graded accordingly to make sure we meet that. There will be one small driveway added on that pump station site in order for DPW to be able to access the station and operate it and maintain it. There will be crushed stone surrounding an infiltration trench in order to accommodate for that flow from the driveway. The wastewater will then be pumped from the pump station through a new force main to an existing sewer manhole on Atlantic Avenue. In addition to the sewer work, the city is also doing drainage repairs in this neighborhood. The drain will be primarily lined. The pipe will be primarily lined in order to restore structural integrity. It will be removed and replaced as needed where there are collapses, as well as to bring the pipe up to a 12-inch minimum when it's under that size. In addition to that, the city will also be redirecting any inflow private sources such as sump pumps, roof drains that are illegally connected to the sewer system currently, and will be tying them into the drain if they cannot be safely splashed on the private property. And also, one more note on the drain. The city also intends to clean 2 cross-country drain lines, and I'll just point to them quickly. The lines that go in between Dolphin Avenue and Winthrop Parkway, as well as the line that goes across Endicott Avenue under State Road, in order to ensure that those lines are clean where we'll be collecting and sending to drainage. And with that, we can answer any questions.
Process for cleaning those drain lines, so you're gonna use, when we lining the pipes,
Louder if you could.
sorry. So the process of lining the pipes, that's part of the administrative consent order for the city of Revere, correct?
A lot of the sewers have been lined in the city. The drainage will also help that. So currently, the existing sewers have cracks in them, and there could be wastewater leaking into the drain. So we will be lining in order to prevent.
That's part of the consent.
Exactly, yep. So we'll be lining to prevent any of those.
The additional flushing, can you explain the rationale for that and how that supports your existing project?
Sure, and I'll just point again. So the existing drainage here is flowing through this system, and it all goes through this pipe. So we want to make sure that this pipe is clear and can handle all of the flow that's currently supposed to be flowing there and will be flow there. So we
And
want
where
to
does that discharge to?
that discharges to a structure over on Washburn Ave, which discharges over into Sale Street.
Into Sales Creek. So what's the additional flow once you line the pipes?
So it's existing flow. We're not adding any additional.
Right, but you have infiltration now, so you'll be reducing the overall flow, is that correct? You have infiltration into the pipe, that's why you're lining the pipe.
We're removing and replacing the sewer, which has infiltration.
Right, so you'll be reducing the infiltration by, do you have an estimate on the amount?
Infiltration into the sewer?
Yeah.
No, we don't have that in mind.
You said you don't what?
We don't have the value for the infiltration into
okay.
the sewer, no.
Yeah, but you're gonna be
But we're
removing
moving and
sources
replacing
of
the sewer.
inflow, you're gonna have tighter pipe, so you're gonna have an increase in the drainage.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, could be minor.
Yes. It's existing.
It's not,
Yes.
But probably the
It's not a
biggest
significant increase.
inflow is when you have a 100-year storm
right,
and the area floods.
right.
So if it handles that, it doesn't handle it, but it will over time, drain it when the waves stop
Yeah,
over
it'll be a
top.
minor increase. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah, will there be any, at Seals Creek, will there be any monitoring after the construction activities? Because when you use RCP, seal the pipes, isn't there oftentimes contaminants associated with the curing process?
You're talking about the drainage?
When you line a pipe, you use an epoxy.
Yeah, so the contractor will
Which
be
in the
required.
past, when I've done that, and it discharges to resource areas, you need to sometimes pump, you need to block the pipe off after you seal it. And you need to pump that water out of the pipe into a storage container, and then sample it to be disposed off-site.
Exactly, so we do have a structure, we'll be able to do just that. The contractor will be required to do that. That's the structure here.
That won't, yeah, will not be released to Sales Creek.
Exactly.
Okay. 'Cause I didn't
Because
know that.
the lining is not continuing to the discharge point.
Right, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
But they'd still be required to do that anyhow. Yep.
Okay.
You had a question, sir?
Mr.
Member
Mr.
Lavalley?
Chairman?
In the notice of intent? Or it's
This
not
this
yet.
is an RDA because it's municipal work.
So I would like to see that as a condition.
Sure. That's fine.
Are we all set?
Yes.
Hi. Did you say you're adding a new pumping station?
A new wastewater pumping
Would you
station.
point it out, please?
Sure. So I'll put the location on the map and I'll flip to the next sheet. The new pumping station is going to be located here on Jones Road. It's at the intersection of George Ave and Jones Road.
Thank you.
And what's on that location now?
Currently, there's no structures or anything on that lot.
And it's state property, city property? City?
So abutters have been using the property currently.
You were going to show me?
Looks like there's a boat being stored there now.
There was, if you look on Google Maps, there was an old boat, it's not there currently, but, so this is the pump station site, will be located right off the edge of Jones Road. Excuse me, the driveway will be located here, and then we have crushed stones surrounding, the fence surrounding the site.
And it's city property, huh?
City-owned property, yep.
Well, that's good to hear. Also, could you give me a starting date and how long you intend this project to
Sure, so we'll
To
be
last.
starting, we're hoping to bid at the end of March, early April. This is under the SRF, state DEP loan, so we are subject to those deadlines, and construction will take place over this summer, and then maybe final pay will be the following year.
So a year project? Approximately?
With the majority of the construction being this summer.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Have a motion, determine the negative determination, the area described in the request is subject to protection under the Act. Since the Act described therein meets the requirements for the following exemption as specified in the Act and the regulations, no notice of intent is required. 310 CMR 58 subsection 6, maintenance of municipal infrastructure. And I'll put in a condition for capturing, curing water from drain pipe lining.
Great, thank you.
I'll motion for negative.
Motion by James,
I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Vote in the affirmative. Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Say
very
your
much.
last name was Johnson?
Johnston, yep.
Like Miles Johnson?
With a T,
Excuse me? Oh, with a T.
J-O-H-N-S.
Okay, so not like Miles Johnson.
close enough. And Kara, K-A-R-A.
Yeah.
Would you like the
Yes,
updated?
Maggie.
I just said for him, right?
Kara, yes.
Thank you. Next item's another request for termination for the city of Malden. I told them they didn't need to show. Very simple.
That is fine.
It's their paving Lawrence Street in Malden, which intersects with Lynn Street in Revere. Thank you. Which is in the flood zone. So they cross the city line a little bit as they go into the intersection. So they're just reclaiming, not reclaiming, cold planing and paving. So I said that falls under RDA. I told them you didn't even need to send it, spend the money on hiring somebody. So I have a vote on this one?
I'll make a
Motion?
I'll second
I
it.
think that's exempt, like paving activities. are
Yeah.
exempt.
Who made the motion?
Nick.
I made it.
Nick.
Nick. And second by Vin.
Yep.
All those in favor? Adjournment? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
That by Vince?
Yep.
Second?
Nick second.
Nick second. Oh, we gotta sign this one first.
Yep.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
It is on at 7:56.
Anything more
We need some
interesting in that picture?
diversity on the Concom.
Right
Drive-in
inside?
theater?
Drive-in theater.
Should show the airport.
You see that?
What'd you say, Jim?
We need some diversity, it's all middle-aged guys.